Hello guys, and the serious epidemic of defenestration continues in Russia. No, I'm not using this complex term metaphorically because literally two high-ranking Russian officials jumped out of the windows of their offices in just one day. Perhaps these men learned the truth about the real state of the Russian military and the Russian economy. Official sources prove that the greatest top secret inside Russia is not something about nuclear weapons or I don't know Stalin's terror, but the state of the Russian economy. And all of that in the context of the Russian oil refineries that keep exploding after the visits of the Ukrainian drones. 9 out of 10 most important were already visited by our angry birds, and I'm sure they will continue these educational excursions. The Baltic countries are no more connected to the Russian electricity grid, and that is a victory, and I congratulate the beautiful people of these beautiful countries. And also I express my gratitude to the people of France and the Netherlands for more Mirage and F-16s that I guarantee you will save a lot of lives, and you will hear about that in the future videos. And most importantly, Ukrainian troops continue to advance in Kursk region with North Korean soldiers literally evaporating, and we are moving deeper and deeper into the Russian rear. So no need to appease the Kremlin goblin, and hopefully more and more of those politicians who push Ukraine to negotiate will stop focusing on these negotiations with Russia and Ukrainian rare earth minerals, but help us finally defeat this evil, which is a win-win situation for all the freedom-loving world. So let's discuss all of these weekly failures in Russia as we keep defeating and demilitarizing this evil. My name is Anna, I'm from Ukraine, I'm in Ukraine, and if you want to see the defeat and demilitarization of Russia, subscribe, we discuss all of that on the channel. And let's start with this serious demilitarization of the Russian top officials and war criminals. And I want to start with a war criminal that was neutralized in Russia after he received the parcels that exploded. His name is Konstantin Nahaiko, and he was responsible for a number of awful war crimes, like targeting various civilian objects in Sumy and Kherson regions. And those of you who follow the updates from Ukraine know that once in Kupiansk region in the village Hroza, a cafe was targeted, killing 59 civilians, including a small child, and most importantly, they were having a dinner after a funeral of a military man. It was one of the greatest tragedies and darkest days that I can remember in the course of this war, and when I read that justice was served to this man, I feel that justice exists. And believe me, in this very chaotic world, it is super important. And I am proud that Ukrainian intelligence services actually reach these war criminals. We've read about a similar situation in Moscow where the former President Yanukovych, a totally created by the Kremlin figure bodyguard, was neutralized. Lots of Russian military researchers, missile constructors were neutralized in Moscow region, and it will keep going. So I know that Russians watch my channel. I was actually surprised to see the analytics. Think about joining the Russian army. You have a choice. The moment you cross the Ukrainian border, the moment you start killing innocent Ukrainians, you actually sign a death sentence. So don't do it. Stay at home. There are lots of things that you can actually do there. But it seems like not that much, because these two men who decided to jump out of the window perhaps knew what Russia is in reality. The first one was Artur Pryahin, who was the head of the Federal Anti-Monopoly Services in Karelia. And he was working with the Russian Ministry of Internal Affairs for 15 years, which is a long period of time, working on various complex cases. And and he did not want to continue, or they didn't want him to continue. In Russia, everything is quite dark, and you will not read about these people or these cases in the news, on the channels. I believe in any other country of the world, without censorship, without dictatorship, that would be all over the news, because just in one day another person decided to join him in this decision, and that was Alexei Zubkov, who is an employee of Investigative Committee of Forensic Center in Moscow. And this epidemic of defenestration, or people who drink something, or people who even escape the Russian regime but later are reached by Russian FSB agents, for example, in Britain, that is the tragedy, and that is another reason why so many democratic countries, the United States, Canada, the European Union, should invest all of their time and understanding and support Ukraine in our very important mission to destroy the regime of Putin. Subscribe to demonstrate your solidarity, and please share these videos on your social media platforms. Tonight, my city was targeted with Russian drones. We had the longest air raid alert since the start of this war. It lasted for more than 7 hours, and you know that I live in the west of Ukraine, which is considered a very safe part of my country. And luckily, we stopped all of these Shahed drones, and no damage, no casualties. So this is another reason why we need to back up Ukrainian troops. And here again, I connect our active campaign to back up 81st and 82nd Brigades that are right now saving Ukrainian lives and fighting for the freedom and democracy in the world. Please support the campaign if you have this opportunity. And Ukrainian drones, just like the ones that you can help get during this campaign, keep destroying Russian oil refineries. According to the official data, 9 out of 10 most important, largest, most visible for the Russian economy were already visited by Ukrainian drones, and I'm sure we will hear more about that in the future. Perhaps the greatest news that were most attentively observed here in Ukraine are the advances of the Ukrainian troops in Kursk. The operation started more than half a year ago. I clearly remember how many people, even those who greatly support Ukraine, did not believe anything will turn out of it. And right now we are inside Russia, controlling a lot of their settlements, having a much better position in case any negotiations start. And not just we control the settlements, but we continue to advance, destroying command points, neutralizing North Korean soldiers, and thus punishing another dictatorship, which is a win-win situation for the world. And according to the most recent reports and also the interviews of the President Zelensky, Ukrainian troops in Kursk managed to move deeper into the rear, actually crossing Russian defense line and moving 5 kilometers away deeper from Sudzha. And this is definitely great news. And what is surprising, that even Russian ombudsman is talking about how good Ukrainian troops are, and that Russian people are actually surprised with this kind of attitude. Of course, I'm sure that in Ukraine, we treat their soldiers better than they treat their own civilians. This is a tragedy of Russia, and this is another reason why this country should be defeated and potentially collapse and create more healthier democracies. What I also like reading about, and perhaps I will record a separate video next week about that, is the results of various researchers and data from intelligence services, and the Institute for the Study of War writes about that a lot of articles. Putin is hiding the real state of the Russian economy, because the moment people learn the truth, they will destroy the Kremlin. I like it. And perhaps he's not afraid of the population that is super passive, and even when they hear about the danger of the frozen deposits, their deposits in the collapsing Russian banks, they simply whine and I don't know, cry and speak about this concept of small people and do nothing. So literally there is this huge civilizational gap between Ukraine and Russia in the way we treat our civil duties, you know, and our societies. So anyway, Putin hides this information not from the population. He knows they won't do anything. I know that too. I have no hopes for the Russian population. But he's afraid of his criminal friends, the gang that surrounds him, because they realize they will lose a lot of money. They've already lost a lot, and I still do not understand why the world does not allow us use the frozen Russian assets. Keep thinking about the opportunities it gives to defeat this evil and stop the war, but stop the war correctly, not freezing the conflict and giving Putin more time to rearm, but destroying the evil, demilitarizing Russia, and bringing a lot of good prospects to my part of the world. And there are a lot of good things apart from the rare earth minerals. Subscribe and please share these videos to help us fight against the Russian fakes. Yes, we do have rare earth minerals. I'm sure we will be open to share them with investors. And of course, if we have a choice to save the country, return back the territories and share, it is much better than to lose the country, lose the territories and lose the minerals. Please think about that. I also know there are a lot of people concerned about the ecology. And I can tell you, these are the plans of the next decades. And another thing, maybe in 10 years, none of us will need these rare earth minerals. It's also the truth. And another very important fact that people who live in healthy democracies and are very concerned about the ecology forget is that war itself is a huge disaster for ecology, and not just of Ukraine, but all the territory with wind, with water, with Russian shadow fleet, which is another reason why we need to defeat this Kremlin goblin. And the Baltic countries are working well on that. Here in Ukraine, we love countries of this part of the world, Lithuania, Latvia, Estonia, because they have always demonstrated their bravery and resilience and deep understanding of how evil Russian imperial construct is. And they have ended their connection to the Russian electricity grid, which is a great day to celebrate. I'm really happy for you. And I'm also very grateful for new F-16s and new Mirage coming to protect Ukrainian skies and potentially help us fight and demilitarize Russia, even on the Russian side. I know many were worried that our pilots did not have enough time to train, but you have already witnessed how successfully they are working, and that actually one of the Ukrainian pilots have already broken the record by destroying 6 missiles during just one combat flight, something that his instructors back in the United States could not believe was possible. So honestly, from this sane Ukrainian objective, from the objective of a person that did not sleep well this night during an air raid alert, I tell you, it is not the time to appease the Kremlin goblin. It is not the time to push Ukraine to negotiate without any serious guarantees. No, we don't want to freeze this war and give Russia time to rearm and invite more soldiers from different corners of the authoritarian world. We need to defeat this evil, especially taking into account they are running out of people. That's why they hire North Koreans and prisoners. They run out of weapons. That's why they use lots of old Soviet crap and broken North Korean missiles. And they are running out of money. That is why they are prepared to freeze the deposits. They keep rising interest rates. And ruble is on the brink of the collapse. And most importantly, Putin keeps this economic information as the top secret. So let's finish them. And every Ukrainian proves what I think. We need to end this war that lasts, no, not 3 years, not 11 years, but approximately 3 centuries, long before NATO existed. Trust me, I'm Ukrainian. Thank you for buying me coffees, becoming my patrons and sponsors of the channel. Thank you for buying lots of good items in our merch that actually work as conversation starters. And I'm always happy to hear your stories, how you tell more about my brave country in your brave countries. Join me on X. I'm fighting there. On Blue Sky, our community is growing. On Instagram, I'm sharing more of everyday life there, and Threads, and of course Discord. And please support the campaign to back up Ukrainian paratroopers. I'm leaving the links in the pinned comments, and I'm very grateful to all the people that have already supported this campaign. But most importantly, thank you for standing with us in conversations, in your decisions, in actions, and I know together we will defeat that evil. And then we will relax and celebrate, and all of you will be invited to discover my beautiful country. Слава Україні!